This is the Can Crushers Wrestling Podcast.
The following contest is scheduled for one fall.
Let's go nuts! It's Jimmy Nuts! Right out of the door!
With your hosts, Mark Martinez.
Because I'm the Mark, and I'm awesome!
The Guru.
Today I'm going to break it down for all you simpleton sweat hogs listening out there in Can Crusher Nation. I don't mean to come out here week after week and toot my own horn, but toot.
And the English Professor.
It is I, the English professor from the County of Kings, speaking the English of the Queen.
Hey, this is former WWE superstar Duke, the Dumpster Drosy, and you are listening to the Can Crushers Podcast.
Oh yeah, it's one of those shows. Welcome to Ask Can Crushers. But before we get there, welcome to Can Crushers Wrestling Podcast. I am your host, Mr. Mark Martinez. Joining me in studio is the glorious one, the Guru, Chad Piranha. And looking like hell in his library is the English professor. Are you editing stuff late at night or something? Because, man, you got grocery bags.
You wish you had my messy hair.
I said nothing about your hair.
You did before we came on.
What? So what, you saying I look like Arn Anderson?
Yes. That's why he's always been your favorite.
He is.
There's a deeper connection than you're willing to admit.
There is a deeper connection. Chad, what'd you do this week? Did you kill anything?
Killed coyote yesterday.
Oh, all right. What are you going to do with that?
He's fit food for whatever out in the woods.
Oh, done.
Yeah. No, nothing this week.
No deers.
Nope.
John, what'd you do this week? I'm going to push you guys along today because we have a lot of Ask Can Crushers.
That's great. I can't wait to get to that. What I did is not interesting.
Really?
Yeah. What did I watched WWE Network. I don't know. I watched an old card just for fun.
Oh.
There was a. I don't know if you want me to go on about this. We got a lot of questions to get to. Just the opener of the card was a 20-minute time limit draw that went 13 minutes. Unbelievable. It was usually, 18 minutes, 19 minutes, they stop, but they ring the bell. This was 13 minutes. It was a great match. I'm not kidding. It was Eddie Gilbert and S.D. Jones. It's from like 1981 to 1982 at the Garden.
Wow.
Yeah, they stopped it after like 13 and a half minutes. I don't know if they got too far ahead of it or what. I don't know what happened, but I felt hosed. I'm like, there's no way this was a 20-minute draw. It wasn't even 20 minutes into the show.
But when you were a kid, you just didn't really care about time.
I guess not. No, I didn't pay attention. I thought draws were cool when I was a kid.
Of course you would. Yeah. Of course you would. All right. We're going to hustle along here in this first segment to take care of some business so we can get to, I think the three of us that really enjoy Ask Can Crusher. So we want to get to that.
Yeah, for sure.
Yes, sir.
But this week, we have to stop. And we have to remember Pat Patterson, legendary in wrestling, the first ever Intercontinental Champion. What he did for this business is unbelievable. And shame on us for not picking him in the new segment that we have, that we should have loved him before we lost him. But we always loved him. Man, this guy, iconic. Iconic in the business. First ever Intercontinental Champion, winning at Rio de Janeiro. Right?
Yeah. Beat Ted DiBiase in the finals. I guess the idea, we may have mentioned this on the show. We'll talk about Pat Patterson, obviously, but the idea behind that belt is that he was a North American champion. And he went to Brazil and won a South American championship tournament. Ergo, intercontinental. He combined the two continents into one belt.
Always remember Pat Patterson and Sergeant Slaughter, the matches they used to have on the Pittsburgh show was on at midnight on Saturdays. Always remember they just used to beat the shit out of each other. And Pat was so instrumental in the young guys, a lot of the young guys coming through. And as a side note, he was the first openly gay wrestler to come out at a time when
it wasn't acceptable.
If you think the bashing and stuff like that nowadays is bad, back then, there's lynchings, getting the shit beat out of you on the outside and stuff. But he went through it. He, made a hell of a career. Vince McMahon's right-hand guy. I mean, not talking about Shane, not talking about Stephanie or Triple H or anybody else. Pat was always in Vince's ear. Hey, you got to scale back, or hey, you got to look at this guy, or stuff like that. And it showed, because up until the end, Pat was semi-active, still doing stuff backstage. Won the 24/7 championship at some point last year.
Oh God!
But it just he was a good guy. He's one of the old timers that just knew the business and knew how to work things, and he's going to be sorely missed.
Came up with the concept of my favorite thing, the Royal Rumble. That was Pat's idea, and that really is one of my favorite matches of the year. I look forward to the Royal Rumble all the time. I always said that I would go to a WrestleMania because I'd like the experience, but I would never go to a Royal Rumble because I like seeing the Royal Rumble on TV and stuff, because I think you get more. I honestly think I love going to events. I think, though, there's times that you get more being at home watching them because you get more of the glitz and the glamour. And I love the Royal Rumble enough that I want that glitz and glamour from that spot, because the Royal Rumble was just, it was an innovative match when it came out. Maybe it's gotten a little stale, and it's just wrestling, guys. There's turnovers and everything, but when that first came out and Duggan won it, man, that was awesome.
It's an absolutely brilliant concept. Created by, my opinion, changed my mind, the greatest mind ever in professional wrestling in terms of psychology. And that is Pat Patterson. And just two quick stories I want to share about Pat. I remember coming across a match on a Saturday morning. They were all squash matches on WWF television, but this was Pat Patterson against Cowboy Bob Orton. Pat had been retired. Bob Orton was Roddy Piper's bodyguard, so you had a pretty good idea who was going over. But Pat Patterson was the first guy I ever saw work the leg around the ring. Things we take for granted now, like slamming Orton's leg off the post and off the edge of the apron. It takes two to tango, so credit Orton for selling the hell out of that. But Pat Patterson made me believe this guy who had been retired and was only doing commentary had a legitimate chance to win that match. Obviously Orton won that match. But the other thing that comes to mind is what Razor had to say about him years ago. The night of the curtain call, Razor wrestled Triple H, and he was leaving. He was leaving after that. Razor could have very easily squashed him, but he tells a great story about Pat Patterson saying, come on, they love you here in the Garden. Let's do this the right way. And it started with him on the outside getting hurt, and fans are getting pissed off, like, oh, Razor's leaving, and they're going to have him get counted out, and this is bullshit. He hulks up, runs back in the ring, and in Razor's words, he's like, I'm treating this guy like a jabron, being Triple H, bumping him around. Ref gets knocked down. Razor's edge, no ref to make the count. Pedigree, 1, 2, 3. Pat Patterson worked that match, and he just took it through all these highs and lows to the point where when Razor went to the back, Vince was like, God damn it, you still work for me. What's it going to take to keep you? Who knows what was in Pat Patterson's mind and in his heart. Only he knew whether he was trying to get Razor to stay or trying to help out Vince McMahon in this situation and say, hey, this guy's still popular. See what you can do to keep him. But he sent him out on a loss, but he sent him out on a high. And that's brilliant. And I'll say it again. I don't think there was anybody who understood wrestling psychology better than Pat Patterson.
Yeah. So losing somebody fast. One last thing, guys. I know it's hokey, but go on the WWE Network and watch The Legends House with him and Jimmy Hart and Tony Atlas and that. If you haven't watched it, it's a great watch. I think it's maybe like 10 episodes of them just living in a house doing random stupid things, Mean Gene's in it. It's great. And we lost a lot of those people that were in that house. So that's going to be a watch for me over the next couple of weeks, kind of making it a mini series just to enjoy that. So here's the Pat Patterson, guys.
Here's the Pat Patterson.
So this week in wrestling, we can probably buzz through this rather quickly to get to Ask Can Crushers, because that's what we really want to do. We really do. We'll start with AEW and jump to NXT, and then
Summary of WWE.
touch on WWE. I got a story about Raw anyway. All right, guys. AEW, just want to do kind of like high spots. Well, we're not going to break down matches and everything. We'll just touch on everything. And we'll start with the Battle Royal. It was rough. There were, 20 people in this damn Battle Royal, and only 2 people were wrestling at the same time all the time. Everybody else was taking a nap. This was the worst Battle Royal I've ever seen, and I don't care.
There was one, I was thinking the same thing until I remembered their initial Battle Royal with the guy with no legs and everything like that. AEW's
their first all in.
Yeah, that was the worst one I've seen. This one, I think it showed the inexperience of a lot of guys in the ring, just waiting around.
AEW definitely got better as the show continued, but this was not a good Battle Royal. And guys, if you've listened to one episode over the last 2 years, you know I love Battle Royals. There are always examples. We were just talking about the Royal Rumble. Guys just continue to fight. You always have Undertaker tearing at Duggan's face or whatever. Even if Jake the Snake is throwing the snake in the ring and clearing the ring, which is, the shtick for that moment to get a story across. Oh, Andre's afraid of the snake. Or Jannetty charges the ring and fights with Shawn Michaels. You're being told that story. There's fighting going on around you. And it seems this Battle Royal tried too hard to tell, I wouldn't even say a couple of stories, one major story, to the point where, it can't end this way. It just can't. This is too obvious. But it did. So it just, from start to finish, was, here's one thing we're working on and nothing else. In fact, we won't even let anybody else do anything while we're working on this one thing. And, of course, at the end you had the one, I didn't know that guy was on the outside the entire time, Orange Cassidy, when it looked like it was going to be Wardlow and MJF, and then you've got Orange Cassidy left. Way too cliche of a Battle Royal. Way too cliche.
Would both of you rather have seen Wardlow against MJF next week for the Diamond? We just need to see something, and I think we might on AEW next week, but I would have rather seen Wardlow and MJF go at it, because you can say, hey, lay down for me, do something, extend that storyline. I don't, nothing against Orange Cassidy, because I'm still a little bit on his shtick. What's this do? Does Wardlow get involved? Of course somebody's going to get involved or whatever, but I don't care.
I'm okay with this had they just been upfront and honest about it. Not that he was on the floor the entire time or for however long, but in the ring. Beat him up, slap him around. Again, and I'm old, but Razor was left in a Battle Royal with the Quebecers and Rick Martel. You knew how it was going to go down. 2 of them are going to bump into each other. Razor's going to win this thing, and he and Martel co-won it so they can fight the following week for the Intercontinental title. I'm okay if they run things that way. Just be upfront about it. Have Wardlow run into MJF, or MJF accidentally hits Wardlow or something. Paint that picture a little more and create friction there. But just be upfront about it. I hate when the guy's been outside the entire time and we all forgot about him.
Yeah, I think it's overdone. It was, remember, Mark, when we went to the Crockett Cup and they had the remaining team to get into the tournament had to win a Battle Royal. Well, how did they win? They were outside the ring, guys celebrating. I think it's overused. I'm not really crazy about this. I'm kind of just, kind of saw it coming when
Orange Cassidy left the ring.
Cassidy was still in there. I just want to see Wardlow beat shit out of MJF.
Me too. Next matchup was Frankie Kazarian against Jericho. This was probably the worst match I've seen Jericho in forever. He looked horrible in this match, and I hate to say that.
It hurts, doesn't it? Because I love Chris Jericho. Apparently, he's a listener from time to time, gives us a thumbs up. But excellent on the mic, very entertaining. It's not the mid-90s anymore, I guess.
Yeah, this was bad.
I want to talk about the Britt and a Layla Hirsch match. Why were they chanting USA? I understand Layla Hirsch and, whatever, but you're cheering against her then. Britt's the bad person. Like, a USA chant came out, so they are clearly on Britt's side. This was a great match for Britt. It really was. I like this, and I like what happened after the Thunder Rosa came out and just pummeled them. This is going to be my favorite feud because John and Chad, you both said it. Who am I going to go for? I love Britt, and I love everything that Thunder Rosa does. Oh, I don't know.
Britt has really improved. We obviously know a lot about her. We saw her very first professional match, and I don't mean to harp on that, but I didn't know a whole lot about Layla Hirsch coming into this match. What I liked was seeing that Britt's got this submission hold, right? And it's vicious. You stick your fingers in the other person's mouth and press on a central nerve or something. We've seen other wrestlers reverse that, and we saw that in this match. Layla Hirsch did that again. But we also saw Britt caught in a pretty serious submission. She might have been like in an arm bar and reached across and stuck her fingers in Layla's mouth. So now Britt has realized they continue to reverse this finish on her. She's now learned new positions from where she can apply that finish at any time. Makes her much more dangerous. But in all seriousness, this was a very, very good match. Great pacing. And again, Britt has really improved in the ring. And once you get crowds back and you put a mic in her hand, and now she's got the skills in the ring to back it up, she's going to be on fire.
I am with you guys. It was a great match. Good, good flow to it. But the whole time in this match, I was like, damn, John, son of a bitch, for giving me this. And all I could think of is, as short as that girl was, John's like 8 foot tall guy that he likes in
Austin Theory.
All I could think of is they could have a fucking tag team and call themselves the Leprechauns, or I had that thought in my head the whole fucking match. I was like, this.
So it ruined a good match for you.
No, it was good, but I was laughing the whole time. I was like, fuck John and Austin Theory.
That's Beth Phoenix's fault, though. That's Beth Phoenix's fault.
I agree.
She's the one who went on about the size of Austin Theory.
The next two things that happened on AEW kind of changed the landscape of wrestling. Darby and Cody take on Starks and Hobbs, and it was a good match. It really was a good match. Hobbs is good sometimes, and then Hobbs needs some work sometimes. There's sometimes that I'm like, what the hell? And I still won't call him Powerhouse. God, I hate that name. After the beatdown at the end, guys, we get a returning Sting, and Tony Schiavone lost his shit. It was unbelievable how he went nuts. In the references to WCW, which we'll talk about that at the end of the show, but oh my God, Tony, settle down.
I loved it. I thought it was a fine tag team match, really. I think Ricky Starks did a lot of the grunt work. I think Powerhouse Hobbs did what he does well. And I loved seeing Sting at the end. We called it, guys.
Yeah.
We had a feeling he was, Mark, you can point to yourself, give yourself the Rob Van Dam double thumbs, because that was you. I enjoyed this. On a side note, I love listening to Jim Cornette. Agree or disagree with him. I love listening to him. I don't want to say he took a dump on this, but like you said, Tony Schiavone was really excited. But Jim Cornette's got to go for the gutter with his commentary. And I just don't know why you can't enjoy life, Jim. Just enjoy life. It was fun. It's predictable. Yeah, it's old school WCW. Yeah, the good guys won, but the bad guys beat them up, and now this other guy comes running in. So what? I mean, it's pro wrestling, and that works. By the way, Sting looks great. I don't know if I want to say he looks like he looked when he first started because he's wearing a heavy coat, a big coat. He's lost some weight, obviously, in recent years, but he still looks like he's in great shape. So I'd be curious to see what he does.
I love this.
Of course you did. That's why you're painted like Sting in our logo.
I was always a Sting fan. The Crow, I think, was his best material of his career. I know they're not going to have him be silent. He's already announced to talk this week on the show. But I loved it. He's going to be somebody that's going to be able to be a little bit active, but you're not going to expect him to have match after match and stuff like that. I haven't heard what Cornette has said about it yet. I didn't make it that far in his thing, but I kind of figured he'd shit on it just because it's AEW. I mean, they could murder Kenny Omega and the Young Bucks on air, and Jim Cornette would be pissed about how they did it.
Oh, great transition, Chad. So
Speaking of Kenny Omega,
we'll let you lead this segment. We have a new champion.
Hey, did y'all notice that Tony Schiavone called Britt Baker a bitch?
He did.
During the commentary, I was like, Tony, Britt's going to bitch slap him.
That's his girl. So Kenny Omega wins the AEW Championship match. And Chad, you're going to punch me in the face right now. I liked this match. I really did. I enjoyed everything about it. I thought, man, this might be the best Kenny Omega match I've ever seen. And you can say, yeah, because it was with Mox, and I don't think Mox needed to carry Kenny. I think he finally got his shit together, and it was a great match. I'm going to fast forward and let you guys talk. Omega wins, and him and Don Callis take the title, run out and everything. And Omega, which Chad's been calling forever, and Don Callis says, hey, we'll talk about this Tuesday night on Impact. Huge. The downfall is, I get access. John, you probably don't even know what access is. And Chad, I believe you get access as well. So 2 out of the 3 of us can watch it Tuesday night, which I'll have to record it. But a lot of America who watches AEW has no flipping idea how to watch Impact, because Access is not a channel unless you bump up to the premium package on some of your carriers. And are you going to pay this to watch it one time to see what they're doing?
I wouldn't, but I have access to it.
Oh,
no. Yeah, no pun intended. I want to see where they're going. I've seen some rumors with this, and as far as the match, it was a good match. I liked it. I think that, like you said, Moxley didn't have to carry Twinkle Toes McFingerfuck in the match, but at the same token, you couldn't have a good match with Moxley doing the flying around young fucks stupid type match that Omega generally has.
Still hating on it.
I don't like Kenny Omega. I mean, the only thing that he could do to redeem himself in my eyes would be cure world hunger or world peace or
wait, you want to cure world peace? No, you want to make it.
Yeah. He'd have to do something like that. But
too much world peace.
It was a good match. Things that seeing going around that, a working environment with Impact more so. I'm hearing that the Good Brothers are heading gonna head to AEW. FTR's gonna challenge. Who the hell has the title in Impact now? I'm trying to remember if it's the North that has the title back or whatever. It's gonna pick up a bit for the tag team.
John?
Question. Watching Access is not like watching 5-star wrestling, right? Where you had to put the knob in between certain channels and the rabbit ears have to be facing a certain direction.
No, it's a legit You actually might get it if you would get off of PBS or WTR or WGN or something like that.
You just have to have the aluminum foil hat on, right, and be standing on your right leg.
Listen, I'm a bit of a political junkie, and there was a show I really wanted to watch last night called Vice Presidents, President in Waiting, I guess, and I did not watch it, so I can catch up on some wrestling. So I don't want to hear it from you. No, if I get access, I'll tune into that. I'll take a look and see if I have it. I love this match. 2 out of 3, Mark. I guess you and I are on the same page. I think Kenny Omega's okay. I do. I know I've gone back and forth with him. I think with the right opponent, I see you guys are both. You both. Earlier you had the Rob Van Dam thumbs.
Oh,
he's got the Stone Cold middle fingers for me. I thought this was really good. Moxley even showed me something because they kept it in the ring and they kind of kept it scientific for a while. Eventually, completely broke down into the brawls that Moxley's known for. I was shocked. I think they gave us enough of a title reign that we thought they kept us guessing who's going to come along and beat this guy. And I did not think it was going to be Kenny Omega. I was shocked. I thought the commentary helped this along too, with Jim Ross saying we've been hosed, we've been jobbed, and it's sort of another invasion angle, but with a different twist on it. Guys, historically, promoters have always been worried at any time someone can leave with their belt. And that's the story they're telling us. So that's exciting. It'll be fun to see where this goes.
Yeah, I agree. All right, let's jump over to NXT real quick. And guys, it was good, but it was okay good. This was their go-home show for tonight's War Games. And I don't know what I really, really got out of it. We did get the match of Thatcher and Ciampa being set up. So that's one part. We found out who is going to be on Shotzi's team because Io Shirai came out to kind of make the save. Other than that, I mean, I'll let you guys talk as well. Other than that, what really did we get on NXT? Nothing fantastico.
That's it. That's really it. It's cool that for once, to my knowledge, never happened before. For once, the good guys will have the advantage in a War Games match.
See, they were listening to us, John. You said fucking last week.
You did.
Yep.
They never had it. They're listening to us.
Yep. So that's cool. That's cool. That was a result of the ladder match, which was a good main event. I think the main event saved an otherwise kind of weak show. You mentioned Tommaso Ciampa and Thatcher. I can't stand Leon Ruff. I'm sorry. My son's like, why? What? I just, too many bounces. I know he's young. He overdoes the selling a little bit. He overdoes the facial expressions. Not a fan. Not believable to me in that situation. I know he was in a tag team match, but obviously with the pay-per-view coming up tonight, he's up against Gargano and Damian Priest. Not believable to me in that situation. Beyond that, holy shit, you guys, we got about a 15-minute promo from Pat McAfee. And what did he tell us?
I don't even know when it's going to happen. He didn't say the where, when, what, or how of wrestling.
Exactly. He just prattled on for 15 minutes. Cheap heat. You guys are scumbags and stupid. I'm not a scumbag and not stupid. What else? All right, you guys are assholes, but I'm not. Just on and on and on. And the other thing that stood out to me with NXT, and I usually love NXT. I think it kicks AEW's ass, this week being the exception. The member of his team, the English guy, the bruiser.
Pete Dunne.
Yeah.
Dunne. Every week I'm going to forget a name, if you guys haven't figured that out by now. Why does he look like a butternut squash? Who helps this guy with his left-hander?
He looked rough this week.
Yeah, it's too much. And then he just took the microphone and was like, look, we're going to kick your ass. And he's like, oh, this guy never says anything. Oh, I hate that guy. I hate him. I hope.
This show was. It was there. It was
a sad take-home show.
It was, here's our talent. Here's what they're going to do. Pat McAfee's going to get his ass kicked tonight badly. I think he's going to go through a fucking table off of the top of the.
You're going to do the re-spot from last year, you think? Wait. We're doing predictions at the end of the show. All right.
Okay. Yeah, this show was just. Yeah. I did like. I was kind of laughing at Damian Priest and Cheeseburger Jr. in the match, and I was thinking, John's fucking hating this with this guy bouncing fucking around. It's like he has to be careful not to bounce underneath the bottom fucking rope. He's so small,
right? Vinny and Sylvan are both bigger than this guy. All right, guys, we're going to switch over. We're going to cover WWE. Not Raw or SmackDown, but WWE. Monday, you guys know I don't watch Raw live. I just can't anymore. So I always record it. And thank God something happened with the DVR, because about 45 minutes in, it stopped recording. I saw an awkward Randy Orton, Bliss, and Bray Wyatt that I don't know why they were playing patty cake or hot potato with Alexa Bliss. I don't know what the hell went there. I got to see Riddle ramble about nothing, and then I saw a garage band match that was a monstrosity. That Hardy is great. He's a legend. You know we love Elias, and this was just crap. And then the rest of Raw, I don't know. I read that it was just horseshit, and the only thing we got out of it was AJ is the number one contender for Drew. That's it. That's Raw.
I thought for a moment we were going to see an RKO on Alexa Bliss. I didn't know what in the world was happening, why they passed her around like a baby. I didn't get the story behind it. Here's the only other thing I'll say about Raw. I've always enjoyed their intros over the years. They have different intros, and Mark, you and I talked about this. They have different intros. Their most recent intro, this past Monday on Raw, I think is their best one. It's fresh, it's up to date, but it's got a bit of an old school feel, and here's what I mean. When you used to tune into the territories back in the day, they tried to show you all their types. I won't even say characters, but their types, because they were usually based on ethnicity, nationality, stuff like that. WWE's moved away from that, and they have genuine characters, and they look like wrestlers. So if you watch this intro, you get everybody in this intro from Keith Lee to the sassy Southern Belle and everybody in between, and you think, I'm going to watch a wrestling show here with wrestling characters for 3 hours. This is going to be fun. And then the show starts, guys. And then the show starts. And that's all I'll say. Both shows, 25 minutes in before you hear a bell ring, bell rings, they go to commercial. They don't even give a damn about wrestling anymore. SmackDown was okay. Well, we're combining the two, right? SmackDown was okay. I enjoyed sort of the tribute to Pat Patterson in the match with all the Intercontinental Champions in there. I thought it was very good. I'm usually not a fan of those types of matches. I thought that was good. That's about it, man. Ugh.
Yeah, AJ, wins the match. That was about all I got out of Raw. The Elias and Hardy thing. I don't mean to be rude. Mark's probably going to edit this out, but
no editing today.
I think Elias, after he got shocked, he looked like 14-year-old boy that got laid for the first time.
Why would I edit that out? Why would I edit that out?
That's about what he freaking looked like. And then SmackDown, we got the The Roman Reigns thing, yeah.
Yeah, great story at the end. Yeah, I forgot about that. Very, very good story at the end.
I want to bring up, did you guys all see Don Johnson Mysterio? Did you see Dominic dressed up like Don Johnson with his turtleneck?
Oh, yeah.
God. Why do they have to come out every week with Murphy? That's it. That's it.
I like Roman Reigns and turning on his cousin. That's just brutal. It's brutal. This is such an abusive relationship. It makes you uncomfortable to watch it. Clearly, far and away, the best story across 5 hours of those shows.
I agree. And I am one that I'm actually excited to see, and I said this last week, Bayley and Bianca Belair. I like that. The Sasha Carmella thing is getting to be horrible. Horrible.
Well, very quickly, Mark, you called me or texted me and said you were the biggest Roman Reigns fan now. Why is that?
Because they got rid of Otis 3 minutes into the match.
Yep.
I loved it.
Yep.
You got to quit hating on him.
I will continue to hate on him. All right, guys. Next segment is going to come up after we tell you about Collar and Elbow. OVW put on a great show last night. That it was kind of their return to Davis Arena, but they couldn't do it with fans. You could order it off of pay-per-view. I haven't watched it yet, but I saw some of the highlights from our boy Chad Miller sending me some clips last night, whatever. So it's something I'm going to look into this week and get to watch. But why were we talking about that? Because Collar and Elbow, they released some more shirts. Still not the winter/fall line yet, but some more shirts are out there. And you can buy all these shirts on collarandelbow.com. And then we have a promo code. It's Can Crushers. All one word, capital C in Can, capital C in Crushers. You save about 10%, which is pretty much shipping, and everybody likes to save money. Hats, hoodies, tees, all that, and it's great apparel. It's comfortable. We all have something on most of the time about it because we legit love Collar and Elbow. All right, short and sweet. Here comes Al Snow to tell you more, and then our favorite segment that we get to do, we're answering your questions from Can Crusher Nation.
Wrestling. A love and a passion we all share. I've started a wrestling brand. The wrestling brand. A brand founded on the aspects of wrestling. Two entities working together to create a product that connect emotionally for people everywhere. Collar and Elbow is the brand. Passion and love for wrestling is the drive. I am Al Snow, and this is Collar and Elbow, the wrestling brand.
This is the professional Braden Elliott, and you are listening to Can Crushers Wrestling Podcast. That's a shoot. Get the body bag.
And welcome back to Can Crushers. It is I, the English professor, joined by Chad, the glorious guru, and the host, Mark the Mark Martinez. And it is now time for our favorite segment. It is a 20-question, over-the-top Ask Can Crushers Battle Royal. Right? 20 questions? Is that what we have?
About something like that.
Yeah.
Plus you guys, maybe 22. Maybe some surprise entrances, maybe.
Oh, nice. Oh, I love surprise entrances.
I'm glad to see that you're being nice today. That you actually mentioned that Chad's here. So that's nice.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I forgot last week. I made it a point to remember him this week.
Probably had to write it down and have his wife
It's in my notes. Remember Chad this week.
Good. All right, so we're going to start off going old school and kind of doing something that somebody always throws this into us here on Ask Can Crushers, and it's cool. This is from Troy from Lubbock. So I
love it.
Yeah.
Lubbock, Texas.
Since you guys recently spoke with Lance Von Erich, I would like you guys to book an event with stars from Dallas. He didn't say WCCW. He said Dallas. And stars from today, any organization. So when we do this, we all give 2 matches. So that's where we're going to start. We're going to book a card like this. And Chad, I have to defer to Mr. Von Erich himself. So Go ahead, get one of them out of the way, or how many of them are you going to take away from us? Because that's where we have to go. We don't know what's going on. These guys don't know the questions. I'm the only one that has them. John, book our first match in a, let's say this is going to take place in Arkansas.
Arkansas? Why not the Sportatorium?
Because it's closed. You heard about it, that it's run down and raggedy from Lance.
Yeah, but this is any time. We're taking people out of history here.
Okay.
Actually, there's nothing. The Sportatorium doesn't exist anymore. It's been mowed down and went over.
Told you.
When the Von Erichs did their with the Dark Side of the Ring episode.
Yeah.
It was on there.
All right, but we recreated it. It's at the Sportatorium. All right, go ahead.
So I could do this all day. Holy cow. All right. So live from the Sportatorium in downtown Dallas, Texas, for the 6-man tag team championship.
I knew
guys,
it. You son of a bitch.
Of course, everybody's got to know this. That I would go here. Kevin, David, and Kerry defend the 6-man tag team championship against
New Day.
No. Santana, Ortiz, and Sammy Guevara.
Oh, wow. All right.
Oh, that'd be a fucking riot down there.
That would be great. All right, Chad.
Oh, wow. I would like to see the modern day Warrior for the Intercontinental.
You can't. He's off. You can't.
We can't.
You can't double use. That's
So
the way
John
we do
just
it. Yeah.
fucked our whole thing.
No, we do this every time. You can't double book a wrestler.
I mean, they worked, but you can't. Come on, not in the same card.
Do you want me to go?
Fuck it. Fritz Von Erich against Vince McMahon.
Yeah, good one. I love it.
You're all fucking flustered and pissed at me right now.
No, I forgot about we can't double book.
Right.
So why don't give John the first fucking match? Don't ever do that.
I am taking Gentleman Chris Adams and booking him against Nick Aldis.
Oh, that's so good. And you stole my thunder. I was going to have him and gorgeous Gino Hernandez, I'll mention this just for fun, defend the American Tag Team Championship.
No, you can't.
I can against O'Reilly and Fish. But no, okay. I will go with the Great Kabuki, managed by Gary Hart, against big-time Bill Collier.
Wow.
I don't know who that is. Look him up. He is so good. He's a local wrestler in Pittsburgh. He's been all over, but right now he's in a Pittsburgh promotion. He deserves to be on a major brand. He's that good. Yeah, Great Kabuki against big-time Bill Collier.
For, I was going to say a 6-man title, but we can't do that. I'm just going to say a 6-man elimination match. The New Day against the Freebirds.
Nice.
All right, and the final match, I am going to take one of my favorites for no reason at all, but Iceman King Parsons, always like the Iceman, and he's going to take on, oh man, for no reason, just because I'm a huge fan right now, Hangman Adam Page. You know, he's a cowboy. He deserves to be in Texas. Yeah. So
doesn't he look like he fit? And obviously not for those reasons, but he's got an old school feel. He's got a territory feel to him, doesn't he? He looks like he'd fit in there with the Long Riders and a lot of guys from that era.
Yeah. So,
good stuff, man.
Troy from Lubbock. That's our 6 matches. You know, that's what's going to be on NXT tonight. So there's our event.
Yeah, I'd pay to see those.
Yeah. This one's from Keith in Tennessee. He said, John mentions he loves Sasha and Io. Who do you guys think are Mount Rushmore of today's female wrestlers? And no, I originally stole this from Dustin Rhodes on Twitter. So this isn't his question. Keith from Tennessee he didn't submit a question. He just took Dustin's and said, here.
He stole it. Yeah. Who wants to go first?
Today's top 4 wrestlers. I will take Thunder Rosa. You guys know how high I am on her. Again, we glorified Sasha last week. I agree. I'm with those two. Even though she's out with her whatever, Charlotte gets a nod for me. And then I have to go with the AEW Women's Champion, Shida. Shida, yeah.
Hikaru Shida, yeah.
Yeah, those are my 4 right now.
No disrespect to Thunder Rose. I'm a big fan. I don't think she's there yet. And I know this is today's Mount Rushmore, not all time. This is today's. Otherwise, I'd be putting Fabulous Moolah up there. That's a joke. So they listen and they hold us accountable. So I said Io Shirai, and I said Sasha Banks, and I'll stick to that. I think they're the best. I'm also going to put Bayley up there. If they're 1A and 1B, then she's 2. And then a 4th, I'm going to say Charlotte Flair.
Gosh, I got to put Bayley, Shida, Becky Lynch, my personal favorite.
She's good, yeah.
Sasha's good, but I just don't think she's up there. I got to put Natalya because she can just have a match with anybody.
See, I think Nat's on her way down. I don't know. That's my thing. I'm not disrespecting anybody's picks, but I'm just saying, wow, Nat's taken a big bump for me in recent years. That I don't know. John talked about it last week that I don't know if she needs a reset or her heart's not into it or something. But John's putting a blanket on because he's freezing, and we're fucking stripping up here because the furnace won't stop working, and I have it down to like 62. So is it really cold out? I haven't been outside yet today, Chad.
It's like 28 or 29, something like that.
Okay, I'm roasting my nuggets off, though, but this is 3rd cup of coffee so far. So
she got a submission victory over Bayley.
Really? She did. Yep.
She did.
I know. All right. This one is so Keith from Tennessee. Thank you for stealing Dustin's question. No,
we're over in the South, guys.
We are. This one's from Louisville, so we've been there before. So this is from Jennifer in Louisville. If you guys could go back and watch one wrestling match live, like I'm thinking she means actually be there, what match would it be?
To have seen one match live. Wow. I would have liked to have seen Bret Hart versus Ric Flair when Bret won his first WWF championship. I would like to have been live there because I heard that was like a 30-minute marathon.
The Rock and Roll Express versus the Russians, the Rock and Roll's first title victory that went 47 minutes on Saturday morning on the wrestling. Their first match, televised match in the territory.
Mine would be the first ever Night of the Skywalkers. It's always been an anomaly for me. The Road Warriors of Midnight Express on that scaffold. Dangerous, like legit dangerous. Lives could change. They did with Cornette. It's just, we see cage matches and everything, and yeah, Mick went off of a Hell in a Cell, and he could have, but you're working on, how big was that scaffold? 3 feet across? 4 feet across? I mean, it's unbelievable. It was just a fight up there, essentially, but so much could have went wrong, and I'm not saying the only thing that happened serious was Jim breaking his legs, but man, there could have been so much more, and just to show the talent that they took care of each other on that small of a platform, legit, it's always been something that just boggles my mind. So,
and no disrespect to Mick Foley at all, you mentioned him, but he had to prepare himself. My God, he could have seriously been hurt or worse, but he had to prepare himself for one fall, maybe 2 if you count the fall through the cage. But he had to prepare himself for the fall off the cage. If we're talking about falling off of an area. those guys, they couldn't prepare themselves. Anything could have been a fall from however high up they were, you know? Like you said, they were fighting on a 3 or 4 foot platform. Incredibly dangerous. Incredibly dangerous.
Little note of history with the scaffold match and Skywalkers, that not the first one, but the next one with the Rock and Roll Midnight Express where Big Bubba went up, that on top, that was what led to him leaving WCW, because he was a big, Bubba Rogers was a big fucking dude.
Yeah.
And he got up there and, you know, did the stick and everything. He got down, and when he got his paycheck, he got less than half of what the other guys got. He was like, to Dusty, he was like, what the fuck? I climbed up there. Did I have a match or, you know, do as much as them? No, but should have done a little bit more. That's what led to him going to WWF, is he was pissed off about his payoff from that match.
He took the best nut shot I've ever seen. I don't know if you remember, Ricky Morton straight up punched him in the nuts on top of the scaffold. That was fantastic. He was cornered by this humongous guy, and he just like, boom, and bagged him. It was fantastic.
It was like a jab from Tyson. Bam!
Yeah, it was.
So, Jennifer from Louisville, thank you for that. Let me get one more in, and I'll throw it to you guys. Another one directed at John.
What the fuck is he sending these in for himself?
I think he is. This one is from Tim from Trenton, New Jersey.
Nice.
Trenton.
Jersey in that.
I went there to call a couple baseball games, the Trenton Thunder. John, that's a minor league team, AA for the Yankees.
Oh, nice.
I think they've switched since now, but yeah. With John's love for tag team wrestling, this one's cool, guys. Now I remember reading it. Which 2 legendary tag teams could you split up, take a member of each tag team, and make a new tag team just as great?
What's his name?
Tim from Trenton.
Tim. If you ever get up to Sayreville or Bradley Beach or Seaghurst, there are some incredible bakeries owned by the Del Ponte family. They're my aunts and uncles and cousins and whatnot. If you love Italian baked goods, you live in Jersey. So, but your question,
who doesn't, right?
Right. Mark will attest to it. He's been to my aunt's bakery.
Your family saved my life.
Yeah. This is an easy question. You take Bret Hart from the Hart Foundation. You take Shawn Michaels from the Rockers, put them together. I think you have one of the best tag teams that never happened.
This one was easy for me, but I went a different way. Midnight Express, Eaton and Lane. Switch them with the Rock and Roll Express.
Excellent.
That's actually where once I saw this question, that's actually where I was going to.
Oh, whatever.
No, I was. But which ones are you switching? I'm taking Ricky Morton.
I think you could put
Stan Lane is what I'm doing.
Yeah, I would probably go that way. Yeah, I could agree with that.
All right. Tim from Trenton, great question. I like that one. That's an old school
Eaton teamed with everybody, though. Yeah, that's why. That is, Eaton teamed with everybody and was a champion.
We did see Eaton and Morton during the York Foundation.
Holy shit.
Damn, so
Richard Morton and whatever the hell. Yeah, I think yeah.
So
that's when he turned on Gibson.
Right.
Because Gibson was quitting because they wanted to fire him and run Morton up the thing and
see how it went.
Yeah.
Well, wasn't Eaton also an English gentleman? Like he was.
Yes.
With Steve Regal, the Blue Bloods.
Take the South out of him, and no disrespect to the South. This was a wrestling angle, but he was, a little too country for his liking, so he tried to make him an English gentleman.
Yes.
Poor beautiful Bobby. Just let the guy work. He was so good just being beautiful Bobby. Right. Quit trying to reinvent the wheel.
That was almost as bad as the full-blooded Italians with Tommy Rich. What the fuck?
Right. All right. Chad, you throw your question at us.
I didn't eat.
You didn't prepare.
I had one. I just brain farted. Do it.
All right, do John. John, you do yours.
All right. Name 3 matches you would show to the or whatever, 1, 2, I have 3. 3 matches you would show to the non-fan to help them better understand why we love pro wrestling. And when I was at my old job, I used to have wrestling on YouTube or whatever on my computer. And I remember a Ric Flair interview and one of my coworkers saying, I don't get why this guy's yelling at me about all his clothes and women and cars. That's great. I'm happy for him. Why does he have to tell me about it? So I'm like, okay, watch this. And I put on a Hulk Hogan versus Macho Man match. And that kind of changed people's mind because he rammed, off the top rope, hit Hogan with a double axe handle. Hogan crashed into the barricade and bled everywhere. And we're like, holy shit. So they never became wrestling fans, but they had at least a respect for it. So between 1 and 3 matches, you would show the non-fan to help them understand why we love pro wrestling. And I've got 3 of my own. Go ahead.
I'm taking Magnum and Telly in the I Quit match. Okay. I'm going to take Owen against Brett at WrestleMania 10.
Nice.
And I'm going to take Bayley and Sasha at that TakeOver, their hour match.
Excellent.
I got to go with Magnum and Nikita.
The whole 7 series?
I think you could even. I would. I don't know. I don't know. Is that allowable?
Sure.
Okay.
Sure.
I'm thinking that as a thing because it's the perfect good guy against the perfect bad guy.
Always bending the rules here. But
well, I figure if John can screw our whole federation in one match, we might as well be able to do something.
Right.
I would say I go back. One of my favorite matches, the Rock and Roll Express against the Russians. The whole underdog theme. The Russians hadn't been beat. Third one, kind of.
Well, he said 1 to 3. If you don't have a third one.
Yeah, I kind of go with those 2.
I have an honorary mention. Can I bring up one more before you? Yeah.
Sure.
Dustin Rhodes against Cody Rhodes at one of the AEW pay-per-views that they just had, where they just beat the snot out of each other.
That was brutal.
Brother against brother, and then they hug afterwards and come back together. That's another one to sentimental value. All right.
I'll throw my third one out there. No, it just hit me. You got me with the sentimental thing. I'll go back to not so much the match, but the aftermath of the Warrior and Savage retirement match, and then the thing afterwards where Elizabeth came out and threw Sherry out after she was beating the shit out of Savage, and then that led to the whole mushy love triangle bullshit and Jake Roberts and the fucking snake, and just it kind of just started with a good guy versus bad guy thing, and then it just fucking blew up. Pyramid scheme to so many fucking angles.
That's all really good stuff. Chad and I are thinking along the same lines. You're going to see a theme here for me. I have Jake the Snake Roberts versus Ravishing Rick Rude from October 1988, Saturday night's main event. You've got 2 guys with glorious mullets and porn stashes fighting over a girl in a leather jacket, making penis jokes in the pre-match interview. You have a snake. You have a giant who has a heart attack. You have the wife smacking the guy who's been saying horrible misogynistic things about her. You get it all. You get it all in this match. I have Macho Man versus the Honky Tonk Man from Saturday night's main event, 1987, September 1987. Honky Tonk Man, first time we saw anybody put their hands on a woman. He pushed Elizabeth. So you have this Elvis character with his manager that he calls the Colonel. You've got a Macho Man who wears these outlandish outfits. Great match, bell to bell. You have these guys interfering. You have this guy's sworn enemy from years prior running to make the save. I think that's a great pro wrestling story. And then Chad's third was my third, but it's at the top of the list. Macho Man versus the Ultimate Warrior from WrestleMania 7. For all the reasons Chad said, I think that could be the very best story told in a wrestling match ever.
Wow. Great.
Those are my three that I would show to a non-fan to help him or her understand why we love pro wrestling.
So great question, John. Thanks for sending it in.
You're welcome.
Along with
the other ones I sent in.
Right. Right. This next question is actually from somebody in the business. Okay? And this one's going to twist you guys' minds right now. From Imagine Pro Wrestling, the professional Braden Elliott, the Can Crusher alum, sends this in. Who do you guys think are the top 5 of the hottest rookies in independent wrestling? Great question. Great question from Braden Elliott, the professional. Anybody want to jump on it first? I will, because you guys are both looking baffled right now. In no particular order. And we're going to probably stay regional for us, I guess. Because
I would imagine. I've got some ideas, but yeah, they're all pretty regional.
Yeah. Oh, do you have some idea? Go ahead then.
Was it Carter, the one that IWC says looks like a Von Erich?
Cole Carter.
Yeah, I'm going to say him. I'm going to say Anthony Young. He's a rookie, right?
Yep.
Is Johnny Patch technically in his second year?
Sophomore, yeah.
Sophomore, okay. Well, there's 2.
Right.
Go ahead.
We're just going to name 5 conglomerately?
Probably, because we're probably going to cross over, I bet.
We are going to cross over. Guys, I don't know if he just wants us to mention his name, and I'm going to be that dick. Braden Elliott is really running roughshod in Imagine Pro Wrestling. I'm putting his name in there because he's got a great story going with the neighborhood and stuff like that. So Braden Elliott, we had him on the show. He lives, dies, and everything. And yes, Braden, you are in my top 5. And I have one more that I think it's a woman, and I talk about her all the time. I think she is going to run amok here in the Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania area. And,
is she still tea?
And she's a tea-sipping bitch. I think Ella Shea. I think what she's doing right now is unbelievable. Chad, can you add one?
Wow. I'll go to AEW and female Tay Conte.
Yeah.
Is rookie.
Nah, she's better. I mean,
she wrestled in the tournament a year or 2 ago, actually, but
yeah.
Okay.
On NXT.
I can throw a couple others out.
I'm going to throw out. Well, then still with AEW, I'm going to go with Hobbs. Because he's evidently got some shit to be on that wrestling and in with the guys that he's in. Not just on there. I mean, he's not, a Jungle Boy or, Marco Stunted Growth or anything like that. I think he's got the potential.
For sure. All right. So there's 5. Others I could throw in there. Red Velvet, Lady Frost, sticking with the women. So, yeah, there's a plethora of talent just in our region that I think is going to make big news. But Braden Elliott, the professional, thank you for sending your question in.
Great question.
You're on there, buddy. All right. We're going to turn back to clocks again, guys. This is from Ted from Virginia. Who was your favorite champions from the Jim Crockett days?
Favorite champions? Any belt? Doesn't matter, all my favorite champions?
Why don't we do 4? Why don't we do heavyweight champion, tag team champion, TV champion, TV and 6-man.
And Western States Heritage. No, I'm kidding.
Or anything like that.
Yeah. Your 4th one could be whatever. So, yeah.
So it's 4, not 5. 4?
We're going to go 4, yeah. TV, heavyweight, and tag are a must, and then throw another one in.
Okay. Favorite, I'll go with United States champion first. Favorite United States champion for me was Nikita Koloff. A Russian guy has the United States championship. I thought that was great for obvious reasons. I'm going to double up some guys here, but what can you do? Favorite world television champion, I have to go with Arn Anderson. And on that note, favorite tag team champions, who else can you pick here but Arn Anderson and Tully Blanchard? Some great teams that came through. The Road Warriors, the Midnight Express, but to me, Anderson and Blanchard defined the tag teams in Jim Crockett era. I mean, I'm trying not to go with Ric Flair, but who else do you choose?
Right.
Yeah. Steamboat had I don't know if it was Crockett. I don't want to be wrong in case those guys from Facebook.
Oh, God, listening. I didn't even think.
Steamboat's title was, I believe it was Crockett. It was still Crockett when he won it.
Dusty's out there.
Never held it for very long. I mean, all you had were these periodic in-between champions with Flair kind of winning it right back. So for me, Flair defined Jim Crockett Promotions as world champion.
And what is your fourth then?
Well, I did Nikita Koloff as United States champion.
All right. Chad, go
ahead. United States Magnum tag team, Rock and Roll Express, even though somebody forgot to mention them and was probably going to put the Thunderfoots and Malkies above them if he would have kept going long enough. TV champion, you can't. Arn Anderson, he manipulated that time limit so many fucking times. World champion Flair would be too easy to pick. So I'm going to take, just getting rid of Flair,
Ronnie Garvin.
No. I got to go with Rhodes because it was always emotional with him when he won it. It was always well played. There was always a storyline behind him winning it and battling back.
Okay. Flair for me for world champion, yeah. I'm doubling down with the Rock and Roll Express. Is that they were white heat. They were just over. I know heat's the word for the bad villains. Part of the villains, but they brought everything. They had their songs, their music. They just got the crowd. They could get the fans up. First match, the popcorn match. Anytime they came out, they were just shit was going crazy. TV champ, I'm going to throw Arn Anderson because he's my boy. He's always been my boy. And John, this son of a bitch, actually stole my thunder by mentioning this title. My favorite Western State Heritage champion was Barry Windham.
Yes, nicely done. Yeah, Rock and Roll Express, 4-time champions as opposed to the Horsemen's 2-time champions. Great point. And you mentioned the Rock and Roll Express, both of you guys, and Mark, you said how over they were. 30 years later, we saw them in a tag team match, and I'm not trying to be disrespectful. This young woman next to us was losing her mind. She screamed, "Frankie, I love you," like she was at a rock concert. And he held the 3-finger "I love you" sign and like mouthed "I love you" with like the puckery lips and winked. And I thought she was going to faint. This was like an Elvis concert. It was that crazy. The girls still love the Rock and Roll Express all these years later.
Yeah, he still looks good. He's kept a little bit thicker, but he still looks good. He's a good looking man.
And not to go off on a tangent, that's why I believe Ric Flair when he says we could have done everything they're doing today. We saw the Rock and Roll Express look just as good today as they did years ago, and do things that the other teams are doing today. So absolutely, those guys could do anything in any era.
Yeah. You're quiet.
Oh, I agree.
Okay. All right. That was from Ted.
I'm just thinking of my question.
I'm just long-winded as always.
So I don't forget it again.
All right. That was from Ted from Virginia. Let's go to your question then now, Chad, so you don't... Because we have a lot more, but let's
I'm
get yours.
old and I didn't get to sleep in till noon today, so I'm kind of not fully here.
Right.
Crotchety.
3 most shocking turns that you may not have, you could have seen it on TV, could have seen it on video of wrestling history to you.
Oh, wow. John, you got to go first because you know how my mind is.
Luger turning on Wyndham, Orndorff turning on Hogan, Hogan joining the NWO.
Wyndham turning on Luger?
Yes.
You said it the other way, and I was like,
oh, did I? I'm sorry.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
that's all right.
Wyndham turning on Luger. Yeah, Wyndham turning on Luger, Orndorff turning on Hogan, Hogan joining the NWO.
Wow, that was quick. That wasn't. How come you didn't fucking pander on that one? Hogan joining the NWO. That's number one. I don't know. I have this love for Paul Orndorff in my heart all the time. That cage match where they jump down together and, everything. So that always brings me back to that rivalry. So I'll give you that one as well. You think I'm just, I don't know. I'll give you 2. I don't know.
Think.
I will. Go ahead. You do yours.
I'm going.
Oh, Michaels and Jannetty. Just because I love the
good one.
Just because I like the barbershop. Yeah.
Yep.
There you go.
Good one.
I'm going to go back a ways to Larry Zbyszko turning on Bruno Sammartino.
Nice.
The student, turning on the teacher. The Seth Rollins.
I thought about
initial
that.
turn
I thought
on
about
the
that.
Shield. And I have to go. This is a little bit different. This is a bad guy turning to a good guy. Nikita Koloff, after Magnum TA's accident, coming down to the ring and forming the Superpowers with Dusty Rhodes.
I also thought, real quick, and I know, because I get jostled in my mind once I look around here, I also thought, as much as we were on Flip Gordon and Bandito at the Crockett Cup, and then just days later via taping and everything, Flip kind of turning and going with Villain Enterprises, when I always thought Bandito was more of the badass of the team. Flip was always, kissing babies and doing that, and that's why, that was shocking. So, yeah, that one from ROH a little bit. John, you have one more you want to throw in?
No, I was just going to say to Chad's point, Nikita drew an instant pop. There wasn't even a question of like, wait, what? Why is this guy coming out? Instantly, the second he hit that curtain, the crowd erupted. I don't know if they were just waiting to cheer him or if it was that much of a surprise to the fans, but that was beautifully played. And we got a chance to talk to Magnum TA actually about that, Mark. And he said he was in a hospital bed watching that, if I'm remembering correctly. And he said it was great. And it got a pop. It got a reaction. But he felt like they threw too much at Nikita too soon. It probably would have been better if he'd have stayed heel a little bit longer and really worked on his craft before that turn. But that is, we always think, you ask that question, anybody, they're going to think of a good guy turning bad. But that's a great point of a bad guy turning good.
I remember watching that match, and I'll see the clip on YouTube or whatever, because it's where Dusty had his arm broke by the Horseman and then in this match he fucking waylaid J.J. Dillon and fucking he broke his nose and his eyes were both black and blue eyes. But I remember watching that, and when Nikita come out behind Rhodes, I was like, what the fuck is I'm like, he's going to fucking attack. I wasn't putting it together because it was like, what the fuck is he doing there?
Yeah.
And Dusty gets in there, and JJ and Ole start beating on Dusty, and Nikita stands there and looks around them and then jumps into the ring. That was the biggest pop I've heard next to the Road Warrior pop. Because when their music hit, the fucking place went nuts. When he got in there and started whooping the shit out of Ole and JJ, you just don't get that pop anymore. You don't get that reaction anymore.
they had some heel versus heel matches leading up to that, too. The Koloffs and the Horsemen and the Great American Bash and Nikita challenging Ric Flair. Maybe that was like a feeler for this, too. But I think the fans were clearly in Flair's corner then because he was the American versus the Russian. But holy cow, they flipped when Nikita joined Dusty.
Yeah, you can look on YouTube and see one of the most famous fan incidents was at the bash that John's talking about, and Nikita talks about this. He's beating Flair's ass in the corner, and out of the corner of his eye, he can see the referee up against the ropes, and somebody tackles him, and he like, what the fuck is going on? And here it was a fan jumping into the ring and fucking attacking him. I don't think it was so much that they were clearly behind Flair as they fucking hated the Russians so much.
It's always so funny when someone lifts weights and thinks, they can charge the ring, and then they're face to face with the smallest of these guys back then was a giant, you guys. The smallest of them was a giant, comparatively speaking, to your average schmo.
All right, let's move on. Great question, Chad. Thank you for having John send it in. This one is from our buddies at a Jofo in the Ring podcast across the sea. Sent this over to us. Do you think bringing the likes of Kevin Owens, Aleister Black, Sami Zayn, so on and so on, back to NXT is really shaking things up some more?
Shaking things up, I guess maybe it's worth a try. I think NXT is fine on its own. They've had some stars that were on the main brand come down, like Ember Moon.
Finn?
And that's... Yeah, and they're immediately thrown into major storylines. I don't think NXT needs any help per se. So I'm not sure like sending Kevin Owens down there is benefiting much of anything.
I'm with John on this to a degree. I think NXT, with who they have in charge and running it, an actual wrestler. Never thought I'd say this about a member of the Clique, but, with Triple H pretty much behind it, their skill in that they can get by on with who they have now. You've seen that with the Undisputed Era, everybody else. But I think the other guys coming down and coming back and being supporting cast or guys that were totally fucking misused on the main roster.
Thanks for taking my pot.
Like Finn Balor. Vince McMahon saying, he's just too boring or whatever. But you've seen the fucking fan reactions that dude got when he was there. That was just a total misuse, and I think he's just as good, if not better, than most people on the main roster, but he's better suited because they're just not, until Vince is gone, smaller guys, and women who, don't show everything besides their nipples aren't going to be used on the main roster, right?
I agree with both of you. I think Kevin Owens, he's fun to bounce back and forth because he's the Kevin Owens show. What he did last week with Gargano and Priest and Ruff and that was cool. He was predictable. When you hear the music, they're going to come out, or when you say his name, that's cool. The Finn one was good because they were burying him. And I think Aleister Black, just to cover some of the names that you mentioned there, Jofo in the Ring podcast, that I think Black just liked it better down there. That once Zelina left, and they're not going to use Black much. I don't know. But do you think it's just to shake things up? No, John made the perfect thing. They have the talent down there that can carry the show. They really do, essentially.
I think anybody could have run that interview. I like Kevin Owens. I love his program right now with Roman Reigns. But that segment was a little too hokey. Let me fill you in, kid. When you hear the music, somebody's coming out. one of the ladies in the back could have conducted that interview. I don't see what bringing Kevin Owens down just for that added to it. You want to bring him down and throw him in an angle. I'm all right with that. But, yeah, I didn't see what that did for anybody.
All right, that's from Jofo in the Ring podcast. They're friends. We toss stuff back and forth to each other. Give them a listen as well. All right.
I'm going to look them up. How do you spell Jofo?
Jofo.
That's it. Okay, easy enough.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. This next question is from Ross from Lake Village, Arkansas. Ross, I have no idea where the hell that's at, buddy, but thank you for sending.
Not Ross from Friends?
No, it's not Ross. What's his real name? Schwimmer. David Schwimmer. David Schwimmer. All right, nonetheless. Ross from Friends in Lake Village, Arkansas wants to know, what is your bucket list of wrestling events to go to? Like I said, mine, of course, I have never been to a WrestleMania. I'd like to do it for all the glitz and the glamour of access and stuff. Wanted to go to another godforsaken Crockett Cup this year, but that went to shit. And everybody's bucket list should have WrestleCade on it. If you don't go to a WrestleCade, you're missing a hell of a lot of things. So those are my three.
From any era, like can I go back in history and go to something?
Sure, just do three.
All right. I would have loved to have gone to Starrcade 83, the very first one. I'd love to go to a War Games.
You can go tonight.
I could go tonight. Yeah, okay. So I'd love to go to any War Games, whether it was the original or tonight. What's that?
On your jet.
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go. I would have loved to have gone to the first Starrcade. I'd love to get to a War Games. And I know WrestleMania is the thing, but I would love to get to a SummerSlam. If they still do it in Brooklyn.
I'm joining you.
Yeah, we could go to some of my favorite spots that I still love to go to.
Bakeries.
When I get to visit. Yeah, bakeries. Maybe a roast beef sandwich from Roland Roasters. And then go to the matches. Yeah.
Chad.
I gotta, kind of steal off Mark too. The WrestleCade, I think as a wrestling fan, after going to the one and unfortunately being screwed this year of not going, it's just holy shit, what an event. You got everything there. You want to buy shit, you can buy shit. All the people you can meet.
And they have live wrestling events
and then
as well.
and then the live wrestling events. Got to go with the WrestleMania for the whole experience. Meeting wrestlers, doing the different whatever activities and games and shit, and just experiencing it. I would say a Royal Rumble probably too. I'd have to go with that because again, they generally pull out some surprises, returning guys, even if nothing more than, a cameo appearance.
Okay. All right.
I've mentioned WrestleMania on this podcast a time or two. WrestleMania 1 that I attended that, but saying you attended the first WrestleMania, which I loved, but saying you attended the first WrestleMania is like saying you were at Super Bowl III as a Jets fan. It's not even the same thing anymore. They played those games on like a high school football field. Yeah. None of the glitz and glamour that you have today.
All right. That was... Oh, crap. I forgot who that was from. Ross.
From Arkansas.
Ross, yeah.
From Friends.
From Friends, yeah. This one's from Michael.
I'll wait until we said hi.
Yeah. Oh, God. That's a different question. Oh, I'm losing my voice all of a sudden. Michael from California. Who would your partners be in a War Games match, any era? I pick Andre, Haku, Benoit, and Hawk. Those are Michael's picks.
Wow.
Andre, Haku, Benoit, Hawk, and Michael. Taking on... Chad, you go first. Who's taking on Michael? You,
Bruno, AJ, I got to go with the Road Warriors.
All right, there's your 5.
Yep.
Okay. John?
Holy moly. From any era. All right. I'm picking Pedro Morales because that guy was a firecracker, and I think he would just tear it down inside a cage. So we got Pedro Morales. I hate to go with the obvious, but I'm going to go with Dusty Rhodes because he's a veteran of these matches. Got to have a good team in there. I'm going to go with Beautiful Bobby and Sweet Stan as my tag team specialists.
Okay.
So, and then myself, right?
Yeah, and then yourself.
Okay, so the Midnight Express, Eaton and Lane. What the hell else did I say? Pedro Morales and Dusty Rhodes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not putting myself in that.
You have to be in it. That's Michael is in it.
This is going to be like fucking J.J. Dillon getting killed by the Road Warriors.
Why am I so horsey all of a sudden? Joining me will be Haku. I love that pick. Harley Race.
Nice.
I need a big man. I need a big man. And then my
Hobbs.
Nah, I'm not big on Hobbs. You know that. I'll take Big John Studd. And then the Powers of Pain.
That's really good. That might be the best team.
Yeah. You like that? All right.
Yeah.
Michael from California, there you go. With the announcement of Shaq recently on AEW, I got to thinking, who is the best non-wrestler ever to have a match? And that's from Rick from Cincy. And he put Cincinnati. So Rick wants to know, who's the best non-wrestler ever to have a match? I mean, we have Malone, we have Rodman, we have David Arquette,
Jay Leno.
Yeah.
They were just all so equally bad that and clearly did not belong in a wrestling ring. Holy cow, this is a stumper. Who's the guy that the boxer that fought the Big Show?
Floyd
Mayweather.
Yeah. I guess I'd go with that because that at least told a story of Big Show taking out his crew and throwing him around, but he got some punches in. That was somewhat believable.
He was a legit athlete.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, of course.
Not the basketball players aren't. Oh, my God, I'm going to get buried. But
he's a legitimate fighter.
All right, there you go.
Yeah.
Oh, shit. I'll probably get fucking roasted for this one, but Lawrence Taylor against Bam Bam Bigelow.
They really just had a pushing match.
But he did what he could, and it wasn't over in like 30 seconds. I don't know. It's like John said. It's like everybody was equally bad. I was going to say Gene Okerlund teaming with
Hulk Hogan.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that's not bad. Not bad. I don't know. When I saw this, I was thinking Tyson, but he really never had a match.
Right.
He was there. I don't know. I'm just going to defer, and I'll say I have to go with John because he was at least a legit fighter.
Just to throw another name out there, even though it wasn't a match, it was supposed to be, but Muhammad Ali took his shirt off and came into the ring and danced around Gorilla Monsoon, and then Monsoon gave him an airplane spin and slammed him. The story goes Ali was a big wrestling fan and was happy to take a couple of bumps for Gorilla Monsoon to kind of promote wrestling. If you want to call that a match, it was supposed to be a match. It never quite happened, but just to throw somebody different in there. But other than that, yeah, a lot of those guys didn't belong in the ring.
That's a good question.
It was a good question. That's from Rick from Cincinnati. That's great.
And Rick, I gotta say something out to you. You got to do something about me getting drafted by the fucking Bengals on NFL on Madden every fucking year.
Apparently he works for EA Sports now, too?
Well, he's got to do something. I'm getting sick of playing.
Might have connections since he's in Cincinnati.
Yeah.
This next one, guys, we know this next guy personally. It's Soup, our IWC correspondent. Maybe we'll bring him back here in the near future because there's a big announcement coming at the end of this show. But he has a great question. He sent it to me yesterday, so we just snuck it in real quick. With the passing of Pat Patterson, him and Gerald Briscoe were McMahon's stooges during the Attitude Era. Who would your two stooges be if you were in charge of a company? And you cannot answer if I would say you two can't be part of it. So, and nobody wants to pick Pat fucking Lupino because he doesn't even know how to send a question in anymore.
Yeah, fuck you, Pat.
So, John, you're running a business. Who are your two stooges? And you can't pick me and Chad. And likewise for me and you.
Okay, in wrestling?
I don't know.
Can we pick wrestlers?
Sure.
Okay.
Yes. Mine are wrestlers.
Okay.
Yeah, this one's fucking easy.
I'm going to... Boy. Yeah, I'm thinking like maybe Bob Orton as a bodyguard because he was really good at that. But these are like your errand boys?
Yes.
You're
Jesus
bitches.
Christ. Do you not remember the Stooges?
Yeah, I do. No, I do. Okay.
You're
Of course
digging
I
too
remember
deep.
the
Just
Stooges.
give me two names.
Okay, my stooges would be Mean Gene Okerlund because he can uncover and get the scoop on things and bring back information, and David Crockett. Jim Crockett's brother was on TV because he was just the worst. I would just treat him like a bitch.
Chad.
Oh, this one's fucking easy. The Young Fucks and Kenny Omega.
So you're having three Stooges.
Well, the Young Bucks, they're joined at the hip. Fuckers can't do anything one without the other. So, and they're only like $110, so they only count as one anyway. Or combine them together, they only count as a normal sized person. So,
okay, I'm gonna get heat for mine. And when Soup sent this over, I'm gonna take Al Snow as one of my stooges because he's a great wrestling mind. He really has a great wrestling mind. He can bring stuff back to me.
Now, are you going back to when before he, like 70 years back?
70 years ago. Yes. Okay. So Al Snow from his heyday, and the other one, because Al Snow's not going to be the one taking the bumps. The other one is going to be the IWC owner, who's a bumbling idiot within himself, Justin Plummer. He's perfect for that spot to take shots all the time.
Yeah. Yeah, those are good.
And Plummer still looks like Tackleberry from Police Academy.
Right. Soup, thanks for sending that in. All right. This one's from Ryan from New York. Rumors are that The Rock is the only one that can end a Tribal Chief storyline. Quickly, I put the quickly in. What do you guys think? Do you see Roman and Rock happening? Is this the only person that can end the storyline?
WrestleMania, yeah. Absolutely. Someone we've seen often, Sika. I also think Rikishi gets involved. I mean, he's their dad. He's the Usos' dad. I don't think he's going to stand for what's going on much longer. But I think the biggest star, The Rock, is the be-all, end-all to this story. Absolutely.
Yeah, there's nobody else that you could bring in. I mean, if there was somebody that was lesser known, I'll say like Jacob Fatu, but he's under contract with MLW. I don't even think that would be effective at this point.
Right.
It has to be The Rock.
I think in the next months, Jimmy is going to make his way back, and he's going to get pummeled, which starts the whole thing kind of John talked about, which leads into The Rock saying, you're taking this into the family too far. So, yeah, that's the way the storyline is going to go. So that was from Ryan from New York. So thanks, Ryan.
Where did he say? Brooklyn, Queens?
New York.
Just New York in general?
Yeah.
All right.
All right. This one came in the email, and the email was weird, so I'm not going to give out the email. But this guy tagged it, and he's from Pittsburgh, so get ready. We're going to know who this one's from.
If it's that fat bastard.
No, it's not the fat bastard. This guy he ended it saying, thanks. Can Crushers fan from day one-ish from Pittsburgh. So is this John sending another question in?
It is.
Okay, so I don't know who Can Crushers fan
skip that one.
from day one-ish. This is actually a good one. Jim Ross is without a doubt the best. I'm an idiot. Jim Ross, without a doubt, is one of the best, if not the best. However, do you think he has lost his step on the mic? Sometimes Tony and Excalibur don't know what he's talking about. So that's question number one. Follow-up. If we get rid of Ross, who do we put in there with him?
All right. Answer to question number one is easy. Yes. He's not one of. He's the best, in my opinion. My favorite all time was Gorilla Monsoon, just, for personal reasons. But Jim Ross is the very best, and his very best days are behind him, unfortunately. We don't have to go into great detail about why that is. You can listen to the show on Wednesday and figure it out for yourself. Who would take his place? Trying to think of some guys that aren't under contract that could step into that role from the WWE days. I'd like to see some heel commentary maybe mix in there. Maybe Jerry Lawler. I don't know what he's doing these days, but
Todd Pettengill?
No. Although my wife liked Todd Pettengill. When I would watch some old 90s wrestling, she's like, this guy, was cartoony, but he was committed to what he did.
I was just throwing the name out. Stop.
Yeah. Okay. Sorry. No, I'd like to see Jerry Lawler, somebody along that line, somebody with that had jokes.
Yeah, Jim Ross. Yeah, he's lost a step. I think a lot of it is his passion for life, with the loss of his wife, and that I just don't think he's got the passion for life in itself that he had before. Who would I see? I don't care that fucker's under contract. They could buy WWE out. I would like to see Wade Barrett.
I like where you're going. I do. Yes, Ross is one of the best, all that these guys said. I think you give Ross the pay-per-views. This way he has time to prepare and know what's going on. You kind of give him a little bit insight more than what's just going on Wednesday. I think if he's prepared at this point in his life, he would still blow it out of the water. I like the young up-and-comer, Joe Galley. I love Joe Galley from NWA. I did like him. I agree with John, though. A little bit of a heel would be nice. I say we could get rid of Excalibur as well and throw somebody else in there, maybe Wade Barrett or Lawler. But
let's fire Michael Cole while we're at it.
Okay. All right. So that was from Can Crushers fan from day one-ish in Pittsburgh.
It's also an era thing, too. Like, he did commentary in a different era, and he seems a little lost. I don't think you could bring back Phil Rizzuto to call Yankees games. And obviously I know he's gone, but if he were with us, it's just a different game now. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Right. This is a quick answer for us, guys, and it's from Samuel in New York. Jesus. This is from Samuel in Erie, so this must be one of your wife's friends, John.
Probably. I'll ask her if she knows Samuel.
Okay. I'm sure you guys will talk about the passing of Pat Patterson. Since he was the first ever champ, who was the best Intercontinental champ?
Macho Man.
In our eyes, apparently. So, yeah.
Yeah, Macho Man. Some great wrestlers held that belt. Tito Santana is up there for me. Dragon had a short reign, but man, was he a wrestler. I think Greg Valentine, honorable mention. Macho Man put that belt on the map.
Yeah, I gotta
agree
with John. Yeah.
Quick answer. We're all in favor.
Honorable mention to Magnificent Morocco, too. But Macho Man's at the top of the list.
And I think because of the era that he held it, I think Honky gets a mention too. It was stickish, and for the longest time, he was one of the longest reigning ones. So yeah, Samuel and Erie, which is probably one of Cheryl's cousins or something. John's just getting questions sent in all the time. Clint,
my show.
Your show. Clint from Jersey. With the two best clotheslines in the business right now being in AEW, Mox and Hangman, who do you think had the best ever?
I would agree with that. What's his name?
Clint.
Clint, if you're in Sayreville...
Oh, my God, you did this already.
Bradley Beach or Seagrass. Okay. Stan the Lariat Hansen. My God, the guy had the name. Did I steal your thunder?
Motherfucker. Well, I'm not going to copy John again.
Right.
I'm going to go with Rick Steiner.
Yeah.
Steiner line. Jeez, it just was. It didn't matter how big the fucking guy was. He would catch him with it enough that it just looked horrendous that he was going to freaking rip his head off.
I have two. The Russian Sickle from Nikita Koloff. He's been brought up a lot today. And JBL's was good. I liked JBL's as well. Yeah. Stan the Lariat Hansen, though, was in his name. I mean, can we not... We're just throwing names out, but we have to agree.
Yeah. And his was an honest fucking potato. Because he was legally fucking blind when he was wrestling. And he just, okay, there's a guy I'm going to try to put my, wrist and elbow on the other side of his head, and I'm just going to fucking throw it. And he's admitted that.
Ric Flair said if he called that shot, you didn't dare duck it. Just take it. Because if you duck it, he was coming for you next time.
Clint from Jersey, thank you. This next one, we know this guy as well. And we kind of talked about it a little bit, but we'll run through it real quick. Colin Noodle, he's been on the show a couple times. What are our real thoughts on AEW and Impact combining? We kind of touched on that already, Colin. Listen to the first fucking segment of the show. Come on, Colin. Step up your answers. You're as bad as Lupino.
No.
Nobody's as
bad.
At
least he sends in something. Fucking Pat don't send in shit.
Right. Again, we touched on it. If you guys want to say anything, but otherwise, yeah. I think it's going to be good. I think it helps Impact more than it helps AEW right now because John doesn't know if he has access to access.
I think the potential is there for it to be good. Unfortunately, I'm not going to hold my breath that it's going to turn out good just because wrestling has soured for the most part these days. It has the potential to be fucking great.
Totally agree. I'm hopeful. I love cross-promotional stuff. I love what they did with the NWA Women's title. I think this is the right thing to do.
And I want to mention Dylan from the Hood. I didn't know that I wrote the same question. He kind of sent the same question down as well. He said, each of you book your best War Games team ever. And somebody else earlier, because I'm deleting notes as we go. So Dylan from the Hood, you heard our teams. So that's the last question. I kind of dropped the ball on that if I would have read ahead of time. But yeah, there you go.
Did you have one for us? Did you ask us?
No, because I have to read all the time. I never listen to the show, John. I never have a question for Ask Can Crushers.
All right.
Right? I also have the pick though for our Love 'Em While We Got 'Em.
Oh, all right. Okay.
Which is coming up next. So you can Chad will bring us back. You can tell us what this shtick is, and then I'll give you guys the name to talk about Love 'Em While We Got 'Em when we return.
Hey, everybody, this is Gilbert, WWF's longest reigning light heavyweight champion. And you're listening to Can Crushers Podcast. The best guys there are out there.
And welcome back, Can Crusher Nation. It is the glorious Guru. It is the Migmeister in studio.
Right? He's here.
It is the Mark. And somebody in a poncho with big bags. Oh, John! Yep. The professor is here.
Yeah, joining us in studio all of a sudden is
the Migster.
Can Crusher Dog Migster. Let's do our NXT War Games predictions. We have kind of a big announcement here at the end of the show that we're going to tease you guys with. Chad's got some stuff, and then I have pick 'em while we got 'em, or love 'em, or whatever the hell John calls it. That's why he does the introduction. But War Games 2020. 5 matches so far set, and we'll just run them through the gamut. Timothy Thatcher, and I'm not writing these down, so how about you write for this week there, sir?
Sounds good.
Nope.
Sounds good.
Chad, all right, you got
Can
him?
we fucking trust him to not manipulate? You know,
All right.
Let's try it once.
Okay.
All right.
There's no evidence of fraud on my part.
No shit. Timothy Thatcher against Tommaso Ciampa, singles match. Who you got?
I want to see Timothy Thatcher win. I'm going to go with the Thatch can.
Got to go with Tommaso.
I'm going to go in the middle. This is the start of a feud, and it doesn't end. Something, double DQ, they're going to just really beat the shit out of each other. It's set up that way, Chad. I know you raise your hands and bitching, and that's an easy way out, but there's no way this is going to go for a while.
Right, but that's a gamble. They don't do that as much anymore, Mark. The double countouts, the double disqualifications. People feel ripped off when they see that. You could have a clear winner and still continue the feud.
I don't care.
Okay.
Be pissed off at me. I'm an asshole.
I think that if it doesn't end his way, he should lose a point.
I'm down
in our picks. If you can't make a decision one way or another.
All right, I'm going with Thatcher then. I'll go with Thatcher.
See,
I'll go with that.
Peer pressure, bullying.
Yeah,
it works.
That's not what we do.
Does work.
You guys are fuckers. Next matchup, Dexter Lumis against Cameron Grimes in a strap match. Cameron Grimes gets somehow like a cheeky victory. Touching all 4 corners as Lumis is dragging him around or something like that. Yeah, Grimes gets this, and it leads to Lumis just decimating him then.
Totally agree. He's been taking a beating for far too long to not go over in this feud. I'm going with Grimes.
Yeah, I'm right there.
Oh, all of a sudden now. So if that happens, you guys both lose a point because you jumped on my shit.
No,
I'll make my own rules.
That's called a decision.
Go to hell. John's boy Leon Ruff taking on Gargano and Damian Priest for the North American Championship. I want Gargano to win this. I really do. I think we need Gargano to win this, so Gargano.
Same. I really hope he wins, and I'll be pulling for him.
Cheeseburger Jr. is going to win.
I think Chad's right, but I hope not.
Right. Ugh. All right. Women's War Game match. Team Shotzi, which is Shotzi, Ember Moon, Rhea Ripley, and Io Shirai, taking on Team Candice of LeRae, Dakota Kai, Toni Storm, and Gonzalez.
I think there are more women on the heel team capable of submitting. So my mind tells me to go with Shotzi's team, but my heart tells me to go with Candice's team. And since I'm more of an artist, I'm going to go with my heart. I just think we're going to see bad guys win a War Games match. I'm going with Candice LeRae's team.
I am too. Echoing that, not because of submissions or anything like that. I just think it builds more for Io and whomever else is coming out of this. I think Gonzalez gets a huge push in this match. Storm as well is going to look good. I know we all love Dakota. We just love this women, the bad team. We love them. But I think Raquel shines in this. And I think the big move is she's going to eliminate Ripley quickly.
Wow. That was pretty good. I was thinking the same thing. I think Ripley's going to get eliminated early. Well, which way are they doing it? Are they doing it?
I think Ripley's on her way out of NXT.
Yeah, that's where I was going with it. I'm with you guys. I think the Bad Girls team is going to win. They're just more dominant. The other team is just kind of thrown together. You got the Tank Girl. You got Ember Moon, who's, pretty much gotten her ass handed to her since she's been back in NXT. To me, if they won, it would be like, oh, good Lord. It would be an eye roll.
Yeah. Is this elimination? This is a stupid question. I always thought War Games was the first to submit or surrender.
That's what I was wondering, because they've done... didn't they do an elimination with the women's last year?
I thought it was elimination. Didn't Rhea Ripley have to go through everybody last year?
You're right. But not the men's, though.
Right.
The men? Yeah, you're right. You're right. Okay.
So which is it?
Well, I don't know. It'll change by 7 o'clock tonight.
If it's a
depends how much time they have.
Right.
They might add, Tower of Doom to the match by then or whatever.
Oh, Shockmaster's coming. The Undisputed Era taking on Pat McAfee's posse.
Undisputed Era.
I hope. We need it to happen. Chad's done. He's already put his hand.
Just so I don't possibly lose again this time, I'm going to go with the Undisputed Era.
Okay.
But I have a bad feeling that this could be McAfee and them winning by some
hooker crook. We haven't used that yet.
I think if McAfee's team wins, it is because somebody on Adam Cole's team turns.
Fish. Let's make that prediction. Yeah. Mine would be Fish. John? You have to make him O'Reilly. O'Reilly.
It's either going to be Fish to turn, or my thought, Finn Balor to come down and fuck him over.
Mm.
I got a bad feeling about that. It's almost as bad as knowing that Twinkle Toes McFingerfuck was going to win the title.
All right. So that is our kind of predictions for NXT TakeOver. John, introduce your segment.
This is called Love It While We Have Them. In light of the wrestlers we've lost this year. Obviously, we touched on Pat Patterson at the beginning of the show. But we've lost a good number of wrestlers, unfortunately, this year. So this brainchild was the idea that we would love these wrestlers while we still have them in our lives. We've each brought a name to the table in recent weeks, and this week it is Mark's turn to bring a name to the table whom we will discuss, and we will love on this person while we still have him or her.
In recent weeks, we have had organizational people. We'll put it that way. We're not going to mention everybody each week or anything, but this week is going to be the first wrestler actually brought to the table, and it's going to be Shawn Michaels.
Man. Wow, you guys make this tough to say nice things about people.
Who's going to go first? Chad?
Athletically talented.
That's it.
That's it. If this was, fuck 'em long and hard, I could do a lot more if it was Shawn Michaels. But, athletically talented.
John?
Considered by many of his peers to be the best ever. As Chad said, athletically talented, could tell a very good story. Had maybe a couple of difficult periods throughout his career.
Yeah, beginning to end.
But again, we don't know what is in a man's heart. Only he knows that. And if we just take it at face value, he has changed. I saw a sit down with him and Bret Hart where he just came right out and said, "I'm sorry I was such a piece of trash." He knows it. He's owned up to it. Not much more you can do than that. He's tried to live his life as a better person. So that's about it. One of the best ever in the ring, and a good man of faith, and he's trying to be a better person now than he was in his younger days. And guys, this is not to make an excuse for him. For every Derek Jeter, there are 100 Shawn Michaels. And what I mean by that is the low-key guy who you never hear a bad thing about him versus someone that the athlete everybody hates. But he's, Shawn Michaels has turned things around. He's a better person now than he was before, which is what we can all hope for in life, is to be better tomorrow than we are today, better today than we were yesterday. And that is certainly Shawn Michaels.
I echo exactly what you guys said. When I was thinking of my person, there was two in my head. I'm like, wow, how am I gonna piss these two off? Because we're promoting and loving on who we bring up, but it's also a game between us three of.
It's quickly degenerated into how we piss each other off.
Right.
And John's up to the the toilet next week.
Yeah, you're up to the toilet next week. Great. I like that. I agree. I was going to say a child of God can put on a great show in the ring. Great talker back in the day. Great tag team wrestler. All of that. But otherwise, yeah. So, John, how do we end this?
Remember, guys, just because you try.
No, not that. The segment.
Oh, yeah, the segment.
What the hell? We have a lot more to cover.
Cheers to being here, Shawn Michaels.
Cheers to being here. Wow, why are you ending this already? We didn't even make our announcement yet, and Chad's got some
holy
tidbits real quick.
I always step on Chad. Always.
Oh, fuck. Always. I feel like the bitch of the group.
Well, welcome to the show. What do you have?
Oh, okay. 3 quick things. I'm going to get the worst one out of the way. Took a lot of shit earlier this week on some wrestling websites talking about Marty Scurll and the abuse movement. I can't think of what the speak out movement, and that from some people overseas, specifically in England. Guys, I don't think that anybody will echo just because it was legal what he did over in England, i.e. having sex with a 16-year-old, is legal over there. They can consent at that point. That doesn't make him immune to what's going to happen stateside. ROH pretty much cut fucking ties with him right off the bat. And, regardless of the situation, he was a grown man. It was a teenager. It doesn't make it right. Not saying we're any better than them or any worse than them, but things are done differently over here. You're held more accountable for stuff to some degree. 2 other things. Sorry, I forgot to bring this one up.
Prior to NXT War Games tonight, I believe on USA is Tribute to the Troops as well. Just bring that.
What my third one was going to be. In history, June 25th, 1937, first ever cage match was held. Jack Bloomfield and Count
Chocula?
Petro Rossi. Oh. The match took place in Atlanta, Georgia. The cage was made from chicken wire, and the match ended when Broomfield secured a pinfall. Kind of a little bit of history, but I thought funny in looking at this picture.
Why didn't you bring this up in June? It would have made more sense
because it just come
December.
Up. But cage match, War Games.
Oh, okay.
Is why I'm bringing it up. But this cage was set up inside the ring, and it looks like the 8 side of doom. It's like not even.
No, you know what it looks like, and John's not going to know this. You at least will. You know when they feed cattle and they put all the hay in like a cage, and so they don't have to get in it. It's like, I don't know, a hay bale holder or something like that. That's what it looks like.
But it's so small inside the ring, John. It's not like the ring's inside of it. It is literally people can walk around it and be inside the fucking ring and not be inside the cage. That's how small it is.
Exactly what you're saying, Chad. Yeah.
Oh my God. And close to my heart. WWE Tribute to the Troops is being broadcast today. It's on Fox. It says to check your local listings. So I know I read earlier they're putting it in between football game or something on one channel and on another channel. It's going to be here. But like I said, just something have been overseas when this took place one year and everything, even though it's a little bit different nowadays. One of the main things that keeps me watching WWE is what they do for the military and how appreciative, they are, and they vocalize it. And one of the memories that will always stick with me is Eddie Guerrero talking about to the troops, saying thank you for coming over, or they were saying thank you for coming over and entertaining us. This is great. We love you for it. And Guerrero getting upset and actually crying and saying, "Don't thank me. I'm just over here. I'm just a wrestler." He said, "Without you guys, we wouldn't be able to do what we do." And that's like my lasting memory of Eddie Guerrero being like that.
All right, so programming notes, just to let you know what's coming up here in the near future. You guys know we kind of always take a break in between Christmas and New Year's, and that we don't. Well, last year we had a show, and it was pretty awesome. Next week we'll cover, during our pay-per-view time, we'll cover NXT War Games. So that takes care of the 13th. If you guys want to know what's coming up on December 20th, we're probably going to cover, TLC. So that's going to take care of that time. And then December 27th, 2 days after Christmas, last show of the year. And we started it last year. We're going to continue it again. We're bringing back the Crushy Awards, where the three of us hose heads talk about matches and categories, best wrestlers, match of the year. I mean, we have somewhat of the same system that we did last year. We'll release more of those here in the next couple weeks of what we're actually going to be talking about in our picks. 3 this year, guys. I'm laying the limit on it. So if we're going to do match of the year, we do third place, second place, first place. Because it was a little long last year. I got some feedback, a little long. So 3, no honorable mentions. We're going to stick with 3 on our way up. Women, men, So I'm pretty stoked that we have that in the works right now to talk about the Crushy Awards. Are you guys up? Yeah, I can get other people if you guys don't want to do it.
So you said you got some feedback. People complaining about the show.
Well, we were long. That was like a 3.5 hour show.
That's right. Yeah.
We also had Soup on as well. So we had 4 people picking it. I mean, it's nice to hear different things. Maybe I'll reach out to some of our buddies and say, hey, give me a match of the year contender and let them get a 2-minute spot or something. But yeah, we were long.
Well, we might want to have Soup again this year. It'll be getting close to tax season and that, and if we let him get a little bit of rub, a little bit of airtime, maybe he'll.
If he throws some of that money from tax season our way, it might help.
Yeah,
get him on the show.
Yeah. Or we could just, not bribe him, but what do you call it? Blackmail him.
Oh, huh? Yeah.
Whatever works.
Yeah, that works. So that's it. That week we won't talk about any wrestling because it's a longer show. We get into everything. So December 27th is the Crushy Awards, and we'll go from there. What?
Memorial.
Oh, I added to that as well. Yes, added to the end of the show. There'll still be 3 segments of it, kind of. Chad just brought up John has no clue what's going on, but the end of that show, we will have a memorial to kind of cover everybody that's passed this year and maybe say a little bit about everybody. Definitely mention everybody their name and give them their time so we can remember them in our hearts again. Yeah?
Sounds good.
Sounds good. So those are
great.
That's our next 3 weeks pretty much of the show. Guys, thank you. Again, Ask Can Crushers is always We love it. You carry the show for us. All we have to do is sit here and talk, and we love it. Thank you guys for sending them in. I was actually worried that beginning of the week we had maybe 5, and then Wednesday, boom, you guys came through, balls to the wall, as you always do. So I should never worry. You guys just know how to take care of us here on Can Crushers. We love you.
Yes, thanks everyone. Are we allowed to? Are we going to mention IWC, or is that going to be?
It's probably going to be a spotlight.
Man, I wanted to say one thing about it.
Go ahead.
Hey, Jock, you fat bastard! You got to drop the title to avoid me, you sorry cowboy
Piece
prick.
of all right. You were being nice this time. Remember, John.
Okay, now? Okay. Just because you're trash, it doesn't mean you can't do great things.
It's called a garbage can, not a garbage cannot.
He got it right.